dad. I have 2 kids. I always feel like I have to say that a lot, because I don't feel like most of you believe that I've had sex. And, I have. It's good stuff. If you haven't tried it yet, what are you waiting for? I look like I'm too young to have kids. I look like the only form of yogurt I've had is in the tube form. I get it. I love being a dad so much. It's the greatest thing and the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, I remember one time when my son was really little, he had grabbed a plastic bag and he had started putting it on his head. And I had to quickly react, and I snatched it off his head so fast that my son started crying. And he started crying so hard, I almost put the bag back on. I'm like, no, this is for your future. I passed my first test. My son's actually in grade 1 now, and he got teased for the first time this year, and it was brutal. It was brutal. He came home, and he was just, I don't know if you've ever had this, but it just broke my heart. He was super bummed. And I was like, oh no, what happened? And he's like, I got teased. And I didn't know what to do, so I just gave him the biggest hug I could. I was just trying to be there for him, you know? And then I asked him what he got teased for. And he's like, I got teased because I'm short. I'm like, oh shit. That's gonna happen so much. Did nobody tell you that's your whole life? And you can blame your mom. She should have fucked somebody taller. I'm glad she didn't, but she should have. My daughter, the other day, she came running into the room with me and my wife. We were just sitting on the couch. She came running into the room, and she looked at us, and then she pulled her underwear forward, looked down, looked up at us, and she says, I have a taco. And we're just like, what the frick did you just say? And then she pulled out a toy taco. And we're like, that checks. So, I have 2 kids. Both of them came into this world the complete opposite way. When my son was born, it was a 40-hour labor, and it was super intense, and like, a lot of things happened. Like, my wife got fisted, and it's hard seeing one of those firsts just disappear for you. And I wasn't the one that got to do it, you know. My wife got fisted 3 times in one day, and it wasn't even me. And as a man, that hurts, you know. But my son was born. It was the longest 40 hours of my life. Like, I missed 2 hockey games. It was a shame. But it's hard when you have a newborn. I don't know if anybody's had a newborn recently, but in the hospital it's really hard because we had this long labor. We're exhausted. We're just trying to get some sleep. But they don't help you in the hospital. Like, on every wall of the hospital, you have your newborn baby. There's just a poster everywhere that just says sudden infant death syndrome. Like they're a heavy metal band playing there on Saturday. You don't need that. Call me next Tuesday. Like, I don't need that here. It's like if you went to a massage parlor, and on every wall of the massage parlor just said, hand herpes. I'm like, I can't relax. When my daughter was born, it was a quick labor. It was like 5 hours, and my son's was a C-section, and my daughter was just a natural birth, and I saw everything, guys. And that pussy be popping. That's the whole joke. Sometimes they're just little ones for me, and. I like to, It's hard. The hardest part about being a parent is that you have to schedule your drugs. Like I don't get to do the drugs I want anymore. It's hard on me, and but I still do smoke weed. Weed is the best drug to parent on. Like when I'm sober, my son's stories are so boring. When I smoke a little weed, I'm like, go on. Middle, yeah, buddy. We don't need an end. I remember one time I got really baked, and my son was really little, and I'll never forget this time. Because we just watched Incredibles 2 and ate 7 bananas together. It was amazing. And my son said his first word. He looked up at me, and he was like, Dada, no matter what you believe in, if you believe in God, science, you have to believe that something came from nothing. And I was just like, holy shit! Somebody can't handle their weed. As you guys can probably tell, I am circumcised, and I'm circumcised. I've been circumcised for a long time now, since before I can remember. And when me and my wife found out we're gonna have a son, it's a huge dilemma. So we had to figure out what we're gonna do. Do we just keep it in the family, you know? So we did a bunch of research of why people still circumcise. And the only reason people give nowadays is that fathers want their sons' dicks to look like theirs. That's weird, right? I don't know, like, maybe there's some dudes in here that are closer with their dad. I've never once compared dicks with my dad. I never gone to that, hey dad, come on, whip it out! Look same! Fuck yeah! Hey grandpa, get in here, look same! Now let's make them touch, intergenerational trauma! And then we stack them and we take a selfie for Instagram, you know? Hashtag 3 generations. We've never done that. We don't need to do that. I don't need my son's penis to look like mine and know he's my son. Looks like a human meerkat and he can't eat gluten. He's my son! I let my son down recently. We went to the public pool and I completely forgot what happens at the public pool. And I forgot to warn my son. And we swam. And then after we swam, we went back to the change room. And my son, he saw an old man dick. He wasn't expecting it, and he got shook. Like, I saw my son get shook, and it hurts as a thought. Like, he physically pointed at it like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, dude, don't touch it. And he was like, why does it look like that? I don't know. It's like it got stung by Hungarian bees. I don't know. It's weird. Like, it's weird. It's weird that we have old man dicks and children in the same place. And I'm not trying to rag on anybody in a change room changing. If you're changing, God bless. You know, change. But there's old men in there lounging. They've been in there 30 minutes. They're not even wet. They haven't swam since Nam. What are they doing? It's weird. I know it's weird because if you took those same 2 people, the old man and my son, and just moved them 10 feet into the hot tub, I'd have to yell at them and then, what the fuck are you doing? Get away from my son. Not out here, take your dick and my son to the change room. That's where it's normal.